Guys, the FIFA World Cup 2026 is finally underway, and after watching the opening matches, I think we've already got our first major talking points. But here's the thing, I don't think the biggest story is actually what happened on the pitch. I think it's what happened online. Now, before we get into Brazil versus Morocco and USA versus Paraguay, there's one thing I need to talk about. Mexico versus South Africa. And no, I'm not talking about the result. Mexico won 2-0. Fair play to them. They were at home, they handled the pressure, they got the job done. Simple. But what caught my attention was the reaction from fans. Because if you spent any time on social media before that match, you probably noticed the same thing I did. A lot of African football fans were openly supporting Mexico. And that immediately started a debate. Some people were saying Africans should always support African teams at the World Cup. Disagreed completely. Some fans brought up past xenophobia incidents in South Africa and argued that those experiences influenced who they wanted to support. Now look, I'm not trying to tell anyone who they should support. Everybody has their own reasons. But it was definitely one of the first major conversations of this FIFA World Cup. And honestly, the comment sections were absolutely on fire. So let me ask you this. Should African fans always support African teams at the World Cup? Or should football support be completely personal? Let me know, because I already know people are going to disagree on this one. Now let's move on, because I think the biggest football story of the weekend isn't Mexico versus South Africa. It's Brazil versus Morocco. And I might be in the minority here, but I think people are underestimating Morocco again. Again? Seriously, why does this keep happening? Every major tournament people talk about Brazil, Argentina, France, England, and the usual favorites. But somehow Morocco still doesn't get the respect they deserve. And before anybody comes after me, no, I'm not saying Morocco are better than Brazil. That's not what I'm saying. Brazil are Brazil. They have world-class talent, they have experience, they have players who can change a game in a single moment. But here's my question. Why are so many people acting like Morocco have no chance? Because when I look at this Morocco team, I see organization, I see confidence, I see discipline, and I see a team that genuinely believes they belong among the best. That's dangerous, very dangerous. And if Brazil don't take them seriously, this game could become much more difficult than people expect. In fact, here's my first prediction. I don't think Brazil are going to have an easy night. Not at all. I think this will be one of the closest matches of the round. Maybe Brazil win, maybe Morocco get a result. But I don't see a comfortable victory. Now, speaking of pressure, can we talk about the USA for a second? Because I feel like nobody's talking about the pressure they're under. Everybody is talking about home advantage. Yes, home advantage matters. But do you know what comes with home advantage? Expectations. Massive expectations. The crowd expects results, the media expects results, the fans expect results, and suddenly every match feels bigger. That's why USA versus Paraguay is fascinating to me, because Paraguay are exactly the type of team that can make things uncomfortable. They're disciplined, they're organized, and they're not going to care that they're playing against one of the host nations. Now, here's the prediction that some people probably won't agree with. I think this FIFA World Cup 2026 is going to produce a shock result very soon. A major shock. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Now I want yours. Who impressed you the most? Were African fans right to support Mexico over South Africa? Can Morocco take points from Brazil? Will the USA live up to expectations? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Enjoy the football, enjoy the debates, and I'll see you in the next World Football discussion.